Welcome back. Now, supply, demand, investment taxes, exports, imports, yada, yada, yada. We all think that we know a little something about economics, but are our views based in solid economic theory? That's the question. Now, my next guest makes it his mission to help debunk some popularly held economic misconceptions. Professor Donald Boudreaux is an economist and senior fellow at George Mason University's Mercatus Center, and he specializes in globalization, trade, law and economics, and antitrust economics. Now, I spoke with him about his efforts to teach economics through writing letters to the editor. Check it out. Now, Don, you're a contributor to the blog Cafe Hayek, where you post letters to the editor that you write on a daily basis. Now, why have you decided to write these letters, and what are they about?
Well, my specialty is economic education, and one of the things that has annoyed me for a long time is the level of economic ignorance in the general public, and frankly in the mainstream media. And so when I read newspapers or magazines or hear things on TV or radio, a lot of it includes really, really bad economics. And so my goal is to write short letters exposing some of the fallacies in a really short compass. And it's fun to do. And I also teach a lot of 18-year-olds, a lot of young kids, and so this is a way for me to sort of polish my teaching skills.
Now, why do you think that is, that mainstream media and just the general public have such a limited knowledge of economics? Do you think it's that mathematics is scary? What do you think it is?
No, it's not mathematics at all.
Just economics, the theory, yeah.
Yeah, my letters have no mathematics in it. It's just basic points, like, you know, like voluntary trade is mutually advantageous. A lot of people don't get that. They think that if an American trades with someone in China, that if the Chinese person gains, the American must lose. These basic fallacies are all around. Why they're so ubiquitous, I can't say, but I do know they're out there.
Right, and you're trying to combat them, which is good. Now, you have a book out called Hypocrites and Halfwits, A Daily Dose of Sanity from Cafe Hayek. Now, this is drawn from your work at Cafe Hayek, is it not?
Well, it's a collection of some of my letters to the editor, almost all of which are posted at Cafe Hayek, the blog.
Okay.
Yeah.
And it kind of goes with the same vein, that you're just educating people, the general population, about economics.
Each letter is less than one page. My goal is to make them easy to read so that someone who doesn't know economics, who's never had an economics course, can read the letter. Hopefully they're entertaining, hopefully they're accessible, and they get little nuggets of economic insight. None of this stuff was invented by me. I didn't make the economics up. I'm not doing new research. What I'm doing is just explaining to the public in the best way that I can some of the things that economists have long known, but for some reason have not made their way into the general public.
It's actually really valuable work, because it is important that we all have some level of understanding about economics. And
I think so.
A lot of these guys did not do a good job at writing it on a digestible level for mainstream.
No, and I'll say a lot of people who call themselves economists or who are called economists by the mainstream media don't do a very good job of explaining economics, and many of them, in fact, get their economics wrong.
Right,
which is
the numbers, which is bad, and the whole parts of society are based on bad numbers, which is scary.
Yeah, and in a democracy, because everyone has a say in what goes on, because they go to the polls and they vote, the better informed people are economically, hopefully you get better economic policies from that. I don't think it's the only thing that determines policies, but it surely has some effect.
It can hurt. It can hurt. No. Now, I want to ask you, what is Hayekian? Hayekian? How are we saying this?
Well, the Hayekian.
Hayekian economics. What is that?
The blog is named after the Nobel Prize-winning economist F.A. Hayek, who was one of the most important figures in the social sciences in the 20th century. He died as a very old man 22 years ago. And he's my great hero. And so my co-blogger, Russ Roberts, and I named our blog after F.A. Hayek. He's not any relation to the Mexican activist. His most famous book is called The Road to Serfdom. A lot of people know that. It was written in 1944, and it was a warning against the extreme centralization of political and economic power that was then underway in the Western world in the middle part of the 20th century. And Hayek warned that this posed dangers. And I think his warning had some effect. When Margaret Thatcher became Prime Minister of Great Britain in 1979, she explicitly mentioned Hayek as a great influence on her and her policies regarding the British economy.
Now, globalization, that's the title of a book that you wrote. So what was the thesis of that book? What's going on there?
The thesis of that book was, well, the purpose of the book was to explain the basics of globalization and trade to, again, an audience that's not professional, it's not made up of professional economists.
Right.
And my theme in that book is one that is widely accepted by the vast majority of economists. It doesn't necessarily make it right, although I think it's right, and that is that free trade is good, protectionism is harmful. So I tried to explain in that book why free trade is good, and to combat many of the myths that surround free trade and that put pressures on government from pursuing trade policies that I think should be pursued.
So can you talk to me, what are some of the benefits of globalization, and why do you think they aren't recognized so much or as often in mainstream media?
The latter question is really difficult. The benefits of globalization, it's trade. If I agree to trade with you, no one's forcing us to trade. So if I agree to trade with you, we're both made better off. There's nothing about a political border between us that would change that. Just if you live in Canada and I live in the U.S. and we agree to trade, we're both made better off just as if we both live in the United States. The same is true the world over. Another benefit of globalization is that when you have a large market, you're able to tap into the creativity and the talents of literally billions of people from around the world. You're not just confined to tapping into the talents and productive capacities of your fellow citizens. You can tap into the talents and productive capacities of people the world over, and they can tap into your productive talents. That makes you more productive, and that means that what you get for your income when you spend it is of higher quality and lower price. We have enormous amounts of evidence on this. It goes back 200 or so years at least. And in economics, few propositions are as firmly established as the one that free trade is beneficial for the masses. It increases their incomes and makes their lives and standard of living far higher than they would be otherwise.
Now, how does the globalization and free trade work into free trade agreements? What do you think of that? How does that fit?
Well, look, in my ideal world, we wouldn't need free trade agreements. In my ideal world, each country would just say, we're not interfering with our citizens' right to buy or to sell to whomever they wish to buy or sell.
Truly free trade.
Truly free trade. We don't have, but politics being what it is, we don't get that. And so in order to move from where we are to freer trade, I think that free trade agreements generally are a good method of doing so. Again, they're not my ideal. Look, a true free trade agreement would be, most of these free trade agreements are thousands of pages. Right. But true free trade agreement would say, I'm not going to interfere with my citizens' freedom to trade, period. It would be one line, much less multi-volumes. But politicians need the political pressure to protect domestic industries from foreign competition is too high. And so politicians need to enter into these agreements to get other countries to open up their markets in order to persuade our own politicians to open up our markets to foreign goods.
So here's the question. Do some free traders oppose free trade agreements?
Yes, some of them are true purists. People don't get more free trade than I do. The vanity tag on my foreign-made car reads free trade. It's true. F-R-E-T-R-D-E, yeah. But I'm in favor of anything that moves us from less free to more free trade. Okay. And if I thought we could have pure free trade, but that's where I want to move to. But because I believe that most free trade agreements, in general, on the whole, tend to move us in that direction, I'm in favor of them.
That was Don Boudreaux. I'm so good at French. Professor of economics at George Mason University. Time now for today's Big Deal.